Ukraine is the second largest country in Eastern Europe, with a population of 37.56 million people. The economy of Ukraine is based on multiple sectors, such as agriculture, industry, and services. The agriculture sector contributes to 11% of Ukraine's economy, followed by the services sector, 66%, manufacturing, 10%, and industry, 13%, in the fiscal year 2021. Before the Ukraine-Russia war erupted in February 2022, the real GDP growth was 3.43% in 2021, and the economy suddenly started falling due to the ongoing conflict. In this video, we will explore the economic challenges of Ukraine and the impact of the recent events on the overall economy. In addition to this, the video will also explore the role of international organizations with respect to rebuilding Ukraine's economy, and how the government devised policies to mitigate the unfavorable impacts of the recent challenges faced.
Against one nation, it never stopped.
After gaining independence from the USSR in August 1991, the economy of Ukraine heavily relied on outside support. The economic challenges were exacerbated even more due to its energy needs and reliance on Russian energy. In addition to that, Ukraine also faced severe challenges to commence trade with other countries under USSR's control. However, Ukraine made a significant improvement in its exports, which grew by 50% in 2007, attracted foreign investment due to high interest rates, low labor costs, and the government's expansionary policies enabled the country to grow faster. The economy of Ukraine during 2008 was the 45th largest economy in the world. However, this standing continuously dropped its position to the 58th largest economy in the world in 2022. The country experienced a continuous downfall in economic standing, despite positive economic growth over the years. The reason is that other countries maintained good trade relations and better equipped themselves against rising global competition. In recent times, Ukraine faced severe challenges to its economic growth. Firstly, COVID-19 posed significant challenges with disruptions in global supply chains, low demand, and low volume economic activities. As the country was battling the shocks of COVID-19, its miseries were further exacerbated by the Russia-Ukraine war that erupted in February 2022. Hence, the purpose of this report is to analyze the impact of these events on multiple areas of the economy, and also to explore the resilient efforts of the country to reduce the economic fallout. The major impact of these two events is visible from the slow growth in the gross domestic product, GDP. From the table shown, it's visible that after the COVID-19 break, the real GDP growth declined to negative 3.75%, showing the negative impact of the coronavirus lockdowns. As Ukraine largely depends on the exports of agricultural products, such as wheat, and due to global supply chain disruptions, the economy suddenly started declining in the fiscal year 2022. The government of Ukraine managed to overcome the slow growth by implementing economic reforms, such as deferred payment of taxes, increasing unemployment benefits, and restricted imports of non-essential products. As identified earlier, the Russian-Ukraine war further deteriorated economic growth in fiscal year 2022. Looking at the table, the GDP growth in 2022 showed negative 29.07% growth, implying severe economic challenges due to persistent war and closure of businesses and industries. However, due to the influence of the global assistance to Ukraine and ceasefire agreements, the economy started growing slightly positively, and in 2024, it's expected to maintain 3.2% GDP growth, and as projected by the end of fiscal year 2028, the GDP growth will reach 4%. Unemployment sharply increased during the period between 2019 and 2022, initially due to COVID-19, and then due to the ongoing war with Russia. The unemployment rate touched 10.5% in January 2022. This unemployment rate for Ukraine during the period was higher than the average unemployment rate in Eastern Europe, which was at 7.4%, and the unemployment rate is expected to remain above 10%, despite government efforts to control it by providing unemployment relief packages. The war is perpetually causing disruptions in the global supply of commodities, such as grains, energy products, and metals, and the closure of seaports in Ukraine could further create hindrances to economic growth and overall global sustainable development goals. The EU region reported that imports from Ukraine declined in 2023 as compared to the previous year, revealing the negative impact of the war on Ukraine's exports and economy. Ukraine's global exports could be seen as increasing and decreasing during June 2022 and May 2023. In 2021, Ukraine was the second largest exporter of essential grains to the European Union, Asia, and Africa. The Russia-Ukraine war threatened the global supply of essential goods and increased the food insecurity challenges to the whole world. The agricultural exports of Ukraine from 2017 to 2021 can be seen increasing in total value, showing the continuous supply of essential items worldwide. However, after the Russian invasion in February 2022, the export value of agricultural products decreased to $23.7 billion from $27.8 billion in the previous year, reflecting the impacts of war and the subsequent closure of seaports of Ukraine. The agriculture sector is the backbone of the Ukrainian economy, as the country is a major supplier of corn, wheat, grains, cereals, and barley. According to the S&P Global Market Intelligence Report of 2021, Ukraine was the second largest exporter of grains, wheat, and cereals to the EU, accounting for a total of 14% of European Union's grain imports in value. As reported by Eurostat, Ukraine's exports to the European Union declined by 5.5 billion euros as compared to 2022, and the imports were recorded to increase from 8.8 billion to 10 billion in 2023, revealing a trade deficit. The impact of this deficit further increased macroeconomic imbalances for Ukraine, such as currency depreciation, lower foreign exchange reserves, high dependency on foreign funding, and low output of local industries. According to Reuters, in 2023, Ukraine devalued its currency after the war to $29 in February 2022. However, due to the rising trade deficit, Ukraine further devalued its currency to around $36.57. Ukraine's foreign currency reserves started decreasing after July 2023 through to January 2024, primarily due to debt payments and trade deficit. The data revealed that Ukraine's foreign exchange reserves declined by 3.8% in January 2024 as compared to December 2023. As reported by the Macroeconomic Trends, Ukraine's manufacturing output decreased during the period between 2018 and 2019 by 4.71% and declined by 40.8% between 2021 and 2022. Ukraine is one of the top 10 biggest debtors of the International Monetary Fund, with a total debt amount of $12.2 billion by the end of 2022. However, the borrowing did not stop afterwards, and Ukraine heavily relied on the IMF loan to support its economy. As revealed in the above table, Ukraine's total debt amounted to $15.04 billion in October 2023, making it the third largest borrower of IMF loans after Argentina and Egypt. The challenges caused by COVID-19 and the Russia-Ukraine war demanded strong and radical steps for the Ukrainian government to counter effectively. And firstly, the coronavirus caused worldwide disruptions in economic activities. Like other countries, Ukraine also initiated internal programs and rehabilitation systems to mitigate the negative implications of coronavirus lockdowns. Ukraine deferred taxation of SME businesses, provided financial assistance to the unemployed population, restricted imports, and provided subsidies on essential consumer goods. To further strengthen the economy, the Ukrainian government approached the International Monetary Fund for bailout packages. However, the economic problems were further increased by the war, and the country needed more resilient efforts to stabilize the economy. Amid this war, The Ukrainian government received more support to become a full member of the EU, and the country continued to increase the reform process. Firstly, through the public administration reforms, Ukraine enforced merit-based recruitment and implementation of digitalization in all forms of service delivery. The justice and law system were made more efficient to pave the way for the country to become part of the EU by working against corruption and injustice. The country also received international support and funding to combat post-war situations. During the period between 2022 and 2023, Ukraine received $65 billion in funding to spend on security and defense. In addition, the country received humanitarian, financial and military aid to support its weakening economy. In February 2022, the EU established a macro-financial assistance programme for Ukraine with a €1.2 billion amount for economic recovery. Similarly, the IMF bailout packages also enabled the Ukrainian government to overcome the economic problems, and the IMF pledged to land $15.6 billion in 4 years to stabilise the economy. Going forward, Ukraine should focus on tax reduction policies to encourage businesses to grow their output. In this way, more employment opportunities will be created for people to find job opportunities, which will decrease the unemployment in the country. In addition to that, the country shall focus on reducing the trade deficit by enhancing its exports, such as agricultural products, to earn foreign exchange, which will stabilise the economy. Ukraine must also bring transparency in utilising international funds to better utilise resources. This report highlighted the impacts of COVID-19 and the Russian invasion of Ukraine on the Ukrainian economy. Initially, the coronavirus caused significant economic challenges to the Ukrainian economy, which were further hampered by the Russian invasion in 2022. As reflected in this report, the economy started declining during the period between 2018 and 2024 due to the closure of businesses due to COVID-19, and later on due to the closure of seaports as a result of war. All the macroeconomic indicators revealed negative implications for the Ukrainian economy and also threatened global food insecurity. Despite being the EU region's largest exporter of agricultural products, Ukraine was forced to reduce its export-related activities, causing the economy to shrink. The trade restrictions and low-volume productivity caused global food prices to shoot up and at the same time increased the trade deficit for Ukraine. In such circumstances, Ukraine was forced to approach the IMF to meet its fiscal needs. Despite being the second largest exporter to the EU, Ukraine is still among the 10 largest debtors of the IMF. To recover from these situations, Ukraine needs reforms in taxation, public administration, and better utilization of international funds. For more information and knowledgeable content, subscribe to our channel and comment in your reviews to let us know if you find it informative.